Greetings, everyone. You're with Tanisha Ali of the Tanisha Ali channel. We talk about sister locks, we talk about beauty tips, potpourri, and anything else that we feel like talking about on this channel. Please, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. I encourage you to share these videos with people that you love. If there's something in one of these videos that you think somebody needs to know, just go up there and copy and paste that link and send it to them. If you're not a subscriber, if you are a subscriber, share right from within the YouTube platform. I hope everybody's doing well today. We're talking about to oil or not to oil. This is a huge topic. It's so big. And I get so many questions about this. So I said, you know what? Let's talk about to oil or not to oil. It's a very controversial topic because the Sisterlocks brand suggests one thing, which many of the Sisterlocks locticians support and parrot. And then you have your Sisterlocks locticians that are beauticians or cosmetologists or natural hair care stylists by profession and trade, meaning they've been doing natural hair for years and they're just not a Sisterlocks trainee or a loctician or a consultant, which means they have views themselves. And even within those views, they differ. By the way, if you have not purchased my book, Manifesting Your Masterpiece, please do so. You can get it from Amazon or you can get it from Barnes & Noble. This is not a chapter book. This is a book to help you up-level your life. There's a different quote for every day of the year. Your birthday has something that you need to hear. Days of the week. If you're trying to gain clarity, to up-level your mindset, to improve your life, you need that book. Stay tuned for my next book, which will be out hopefully by the end of January or February. So we have all these views, and then we have our view, our own view about what we should do based on all this external stimuli and all of this stuff we hear from other people. Then we get confused and we forget the one main thing that we really need to remember, which is what this video is trying to get you to see, and that is your hair has its own hair narrative. It's that simple. Just because you got Sisterlocks doesn't mean you forget everything that your hair needed or that you were doing with your hair since the time you can remember. Some people say, is my hair going to fall out if I dye it? And I say to you, were you dyeing your hair before your Sisterlocks? If you had hair that couldn't take a certain kind of dye before you had Sisterlocks, then you don't need to think that just because you have Sisterlocks now, you can run off and get your hair dyed. Period. Some people's hair can tolerate dye, meaning it will break, but it doesn't break in a way that they can really see it. So it may break a little, and if they strengthen it and condition it, it'll be fine. My hair is typically like that. I've dyed a lot. You all know that. And I haven't had to pay serious consequences, although I am paying some consequences. So when we talk about oil, it comes down to you looking at what your hair needed before you got Sisterlocks, but also understanding what it is you run into when you do use oil with Sisterlocks. And that's something that I want to get into today as well. If you have not heard about my Melanin Magic Miracle Hair Grow, you can text me. Do not call, simply text me at 678-438-6442. The reason why I'm talking about this, and I'm going to do a video about how to use it, is because this is what I use on my hair. This is what I've used on my hair since probably month 6 or 3 of my Sisterlock journey. Maybe it could have been a slight bit longer than that. The time is not important, except to stress that I've been using my own hair growth oil on my hair for over 8 years. That's the most important thing for you to know. And I believe that it is my hair growth serum that has kept my hair strong, that has made it able to withstand the dyeing, the styling. Even though I don't style as much as a lot of you, plaiting these still puts stress on the hair. You know, I like curly style, so I use the rollers a lot. I use the pipe cleaners a lot. Those do, in fact, break your hair. I'm here to tell you. But this has helped to fortify my hair from the scalp down. And so I naturally am a proponent for using oil on the Sisterlocks, but not just any oil will do, not just any amount will do. And you do need to understand the, I don't want to say risks and hazards, but the risks and hazards of using oil on your hair, so that you go into this with an open mind, but also being able to weigh and consider all of the unpleasantries that can come about when you're using oil on your locks. Before I talk more about this, I want to also discuss why it's so important for you to determine what you're going to do with your hair and not let somebody else determine that. Do you let someone tell you how to raise your children? No. Do you let someone tell you how to have sex in the bedroom with your husband if they're trying innovative things and you're not comfortable with it? No. Do you let someone tell you what toothpaste to use? No. Do you let someone tell you or diagnose you at the doctor's office with something and you believe what the doctor tells you when you know your body and you feel in your gut that that's not what you need? No, you don't. So why would you do the same thing when it comes down to your hair? Why would you make your hair like a ritual? A ritual is something we do repeatedly and mindlessly without thinking about it. We don't think about the consequences. We don't really get the full benefit. We just kind of put ourselves on automatic and we reproduce that repetitive thing every day in our lives. And that's what creates issues for us, because we're not connected to the reason why. You have to get into the thinking part. We can't be lazy in this world today, because everything we do has a particular consequence. And when we do things mindlessly, we pay for it. So we have to know and be able to defend why we're doing what we're doing, because damn it, if it doesn't make sense, we got to stop doing it. It's just that damn simple. If it doesn't make sense, you got to stop doing it. It's like Johnny Cocker used to say, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Okay, and I'm saying if it doesn't fit, you must quit. You can't keep doing it if it doesn't make sense. So if you know your hair needs oil and it's dry as all get out, then you need to put some oil in your hair. If you feel that the oil you're using is not right for your hair, if you purchase this and this is expensive, because this is not any old type of oil, this is high quality oil, high quality ingredients. Okay, a bottle this size of jojoba oil will cost you $23 in the store. This stuff is not, and this has over 20 something ingredients in it. This is not being mixed with palm oil, sunflower oil, and all those other cheesy oils that jack you up and weigh your hair down, even though they're natural. Even though oils are natural, certain oils have certain impacts on your hair. For example, I don't believe in using coconut oil on my skin or my hair. It's kind of comedogenic, so it clogs my pores, which most people don't realize. And it's also too heavy. So I'm not going to put that in my hair if I don't want my hair to be weighted down. I may not have what we call residue in my hair when I wash it. And so I may think the coconut oil is good. But if it's weighing my locks down more than another oil may weigh my locks down, then it's not a good choice for me. So this oil, while pricey, is one of the best oils that you're going to find on your hair. And I'm constantly refining the formula to meet different needs, and may offer various formulas of this same formulation. But I also have updated the instructions for this oil in the Google document that you get, that give you suggestions about how to modify the oil on your own. which you can definitely do. The ingredients in here, the blend in here will strengthen your hair. Y'all see me on this channel. I am oftentimes adding locks around the front. My hair is thick as hell. I've had my locks for 9 years, and I can tell you why, maybe, even though sometimes my retightenings aren't necessarily ideal and sometimes they hurt, I still haven't lost hair because I'm coming around the bend with this. It's like, we know our water is unhealthy, right? We know the deodorant we put on our skin is unhealthy. We know the food has pesticides. We know all of these other things jeopardize us, right? From the time we get up in the morning and brush our teeth with fluorinated toothpaste, which has health risks, to the time we go to bed at night. However, if we remove a few of those risks out of our life, we are going to fare better than allowing all of those risks to exist. So you can't eliminate all of the potential threats for your hair or your life. But what you can do is you can minimize the things that you are doing that are harming your hair. And you can begin to focus more on taking care of your hair or giving it an extra backup. My body takes a beating every day as I get older, as I age gracefully. By the way, check out my anti-aging serum. I'm getting ready to be 50. As I eat foods that I'm still eating that I'm not supposed to be eating, my body takes a beating. So what do I have to make sure I do more of now than I did when I was young? I've got to exercise more. I've got to stretch more. I have to counteract the things that I'm doing that are not helping my hair. That's what you have to decide. You have to pick your battles. You have to pick your battles. You have to pick your poison, because everything that you do is not going to be in your interest. Everything that you do is not going to help you, but you still have to decide, hey, what's best for me? When I first started my lock journey, y'all, day one, you know how it is when you first start your locks. It's like it is when you have your first baby, right? You read the book, you did all the research, you're coming to the process, you're getting ready to be super mom. You're going to be the one mom in the world that's going to raise the perfect child. You're going to do everything right, right? It's the same thing with your locks. You're going to make sure they grow long. You're going to find out as much as you can about them. Meanwhile, while you're doing this, you're forgetting everything. You're forgetting that you've been doing your hair up to this point. You know what worked. You know what the beautician did that jacked you up. You know the decisions that you made that didn't work. You know how your mother handed down certain traditions. You know who in your family had a lot of hair and what they were doing. You forget all that. You throw that shit out the window. And now you're going to adopt what someone else tells you, which is what we do in life. We forget that we are the best knowers and that we have all of our answers, and all we have to do is go within. So we search outside of ourselves and we adopt things that other people tell us to do. And so by the same way, I remember my loctician who installed my locks, Ifraj, for example. And if you want Ifraj's information, you're going to have to get it in the description. I can't always respond to comments asking for her information because I don't have time for this anymore. It's just too much. So I will put her information in the description, and that's how you can contact her. By the way, we have the card of communication as I'm shuffling here, and I'm going to digress for a second before I talk about my first conversation about oil with my loctician, and talk to you about the importance of communication. Communication is a theme that keeps coming up during this time in our evolutionary journey. And it's coming up in a lot of ways. And I keep asking myself, what is it about this communication? But what I'm understanding is most of us are not communicating effectively in our lives. We're allowing communication to trigger us. We're allowing things that people say to cause us to lose our temper, or we're allowing things that people say to cause us to go into a predictable line of thinking that we've been in all the time, instead of looking for new ways to try to get our point across. So in relationships, this can be particularly difficult. In the workplace, it'll be difficult. In relationships with your parents, they say something the same way they've been saying it for a long time. You receive it a certain way. It sends you off down a certain path of thinking, and before you know it, there's a clash. If you're dealing with your children, something happened yesterday with Naima, and I had to think about this card. This card came into my mind because oftentimes when the girls when I start to work, because I perceive myself as being so busy. Everybody is busy doing whatever they are doing, even if it's not good for them. Everybody today feels busy, including me. So when they call me and I'm doing a video, it stops the video if I take the call. When they call me, oftentimes it's not something that they couldn't have solved on their own. So I feel interrupted because I'm like, she calls me about this all the time. She interrupted me this time. Now a 20 or 30-minute video is going to take me about an hour and a half, because I have to edit it now. I have to export it. Then I have to upload it and wait for it to process. It's going to take forever. I can't finish the video today because I have several appointments. That's all I can think about, right? All she can think about is the fact that I answered the question that she asked me once I realized it wasn't an emergency, because I might only get it because I tell myself, oh, this could be an emergency and she might really, need me for something. I can't afford not to take this call. So I take the call only to find out in my mind, or in my opinion, that it's an ordinary request that could have been solved some other way. So I realize what it is, I answer it, and then I click the hang up button or the stop button because I'm done and I'm not on the other side of that. And so I don't realize what that feels like. So I've been working with Naima during this time. We've been working on communication, because communication has been at the source of her throat chakra blockage. When I was raising Naima, she was a different child than Sophia, so we communicated differently. Her disposition was very different than mine, and so she had different needs, which I could not and did not account for at that particular time, because I wasn't at that level of awareness as I am now, which was what happens with a lot of us. When we know better, we do better, right? But we can't do any better than we know, which is why we have to practice forgiveness also, and we have to take responsibility for our own lives as we move forward in communication. These things are mirrored in all of the relationships that we have in our lives. So she calls me, she says what she says, which is, Mommy, does your card have a debit number? I said, no, it doesn't. It's a credit card. Use it as a credit card. She said, well, it's asking me for a debit. It won't take it as credit. So I said, okay, fine. Go ahead and buy whatever it is, I'll give the money back to you. And I hit click. And I go on about my business, knowing I'm going to have to refilm and all of these other things, right? And then I look at my phone later and I hear this message. And to me, this message, because it's something different than what I'm trying to open myself up to, I feel some kind of way because I hear her asserting herself. Now, mind you, we are parents, but at a point we become supporters. At a point we cannot bully our children. We cannot force them to think how we want them to think. We have to make space for who they are as individuals. But that parent-child dynamic continues to work in the background. It works for and against the parent, and it works for and against the child. So Naima says, Mommy, I just want you to know that I don't appreciate you hanging up on me. To me, I'm thinking it's not a hang up. I said, okay, you got it. All right, bye, click. So I said the bye part, click. So I'm thinking that's not a hang up. But I'm listening to Naima because we're working on what? Communication. So I say, okay. She says, every time I'm doing something for you. No, she says, every time you interrupt me or you hang up on me, usually it's because you're videoing. She does something that's positive. She affirms me first, and she says, I know that what you do is important. I know that you love what you do, and I know that what you do is helping to keep a roof over our head, so I know it's important, which is good. That affirms that she hears me, which is what we have to do when we communicate with people. We have to affirm first that we hear what is usually a concern for them, because when you cannot do that, you're going to run into brick walls, right? You go in complaining about something. I'm tired of you doing such and such. Boom, boom, boom. So I said, okay. And she says, but it seems as though whenever I am doing something for you and you're doing something that's important for you and I have an issue and I call you, you hang up on me. So the way she's saying this, she's in her lion energy, which I'm encouraging her to do because she's always been more on the deficient side of that solar plexus energy when it came to standing in her power. So I told her, practice on me. I'm here for you every day. practice on me so that you can go out into the world and then assert yourself and practice on other people. So when I tell her to practice on me, I got to be ready for it when it comes. So I'm thinking, well, she's sounding like she got an attitude. She's sounding disrespectful. This is my daughter. And I had to take that ego and I have to come down like this because it ain't about me. It's about her. And it's about me remembering that we're supposed to be working on communication. So I listen and I listen. And I eventually say something that is more balanced, but not ideal. I take responsibility for the hanging up, but I also tell her, which is my truth, that the reason why I do that is because you know that whenever I send you out there to get something, no matter what, I want you to come back with it. If you have to pay for it, you know I'm going to give you the money back as soon as you walk in the house. So you don't have to call me about those things. Solve those problems. In other words, you don't need me to hold your hand. Solve those problems because you know it has a predictable outcome. So as a parent, it's my job to guide, okay? To let her know and to tell her we have problems in life. Problem solving is about thinking creatively. You don't have to go back and do the children of Israel every time you have a particular issue because you know how it ends up. You always end up buying it, or I tell you to buy it, and then I give you the money right away. So I had to remind her of that, but I also had to take full responsibility for my behavior, which is inappropriate, because what I'm doing at any given time is not more important to her, irregardless of how important it is to me. Number two, there's a way to get off the phone. Number three, if I stop the video to answer the call, I might as well be fully present for it anyway. Right? So here again, this is a simple example. In your life, it can play out in any number of ways. It will play out in any number of ways, and that's the point. Look at how miscommunication, bad communication, dysfunctional communication, angry communication, people-pleasing communication. Look at how all of these communication dynamics are playing out in your life, and become more mindful and conscious and self-aware as to how you are participating in that and how you can improve it. So that's our message for today, okay? If you need a healing reading or you need a chakra balancing, check me out in the comments. Or if you'd like to talk about these kinds of things, go and subscribe to my Butterfly Transformations channel. So day one, when I got my locks installed, coming to the process with all of this, wanting to do it right, my loctician, when she finished installing them, she started putting oil in them. First thought I had, wait a second, the Sisterlocks website or all the people that I did research with, they said you're not supposed to use oil. So I'm almost in a panic because I'm thinking she's going to mess up my locks. My locks going to slip. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. This going to happen. That's going to happen. I'm thinking, oh my Lord. So I said, are you sure that we can use oil? Now I'm asking her this. She's a damn cosmetologist with a license. She's been doing natural hair for the better part of her adult life. But I'm going to ask her, somebody who knows, because somebody told me that it did that. So she says, oh yeah, your hair needs oil. So I cringed, but I allowed her to, now I'm a very wordy person, so your hair needs oil wasn't good enough for me. I would have loved a longer explanation because that's how my mind works. A direct answer is usually not enough for me. Again, that's a communication thing. I have particular needs when it comes to communication. I like to look at the ins and outs of things. I like to analyze things. I like things to make sense. I'm very logical. I'm very rational. In that aspect, I'm very left brain. Okay? So that also poses particular challenges because then I keep asking questions and I want to know. And in a relationship, some people may think that I'm continuing to ask questions just to be the devil's advocate or just to get on their nerves. So these communication varieties, y'all, are really powerful. So anyway, eventually, after some time, I came to realize that my hair needs what it needs. So I went back to when I first moved down to Georgia from Philly, and I had this spot of dry, flaky, itchy, yucky area all up in here that I didn't have before because the water quality changed. And so as a result, my hair had to adjust. So I said, okay, you don't want to be looking at that all the time. You need oils. So I went ahead and started using that oil. That particular oil gave me lock funk. It did not address this. It more or less kind of covered it up a little bit. So eventually I realized I needed something different. Me being always into essential oils, I made a blend for myself that addressed this. Then I began to add other things to the blend that addressed the strength of my hair and the sheen and all of those things to eventually come up with this today. So the way I use this today, which you can use even if your loctician tells you you don't need oil, no one is saying drench your hair in oil like we used to do when we were growing up and our parents would braid our hair and they would get the whole thing of bergamot or that green grease or that lanolin and just dip it in there and just do like this. Nobody's asking you to do all that. But what I am saying is, for me, you see that little one spray? This bottle goes a long way. Don't overuse it. I get it just where I need it, and it goes a long way. It goes a lot further than when I might even use a top like the one that the Talia Wadjet bottle has, and I just do like this down my scalp. I'm getting too much oil in my hair, which means eventually it's going to weigh my locks down and make them heavy, which is another concern, something you don't want. We'll talk about that more, but do you see how precise this is? I'm using a fraction of what I need in my hair, and it feels good. And immediately, because of the magic of this blend, my hair is responding. Already it feels soft, it feels smooth. As you put this throughout your hair, it's going to eliminate frizz. It's going to soften your hair. It's going to soften the cuticle. It's going to detangle. It's going to nourish and condition your hair. It's going to moisturize it. It's going to give it a shine. It's going to repair it. It's going to do so many things. So I'll do this throughout my whole hair, and then I'll do like this. Imagine that, right? Gorgeous, beautiful. Now, because I'm doing this, I don't have to do this. If I didn't have this dye in my hair, I probably wouldn't do this necessarily. But again, it's just a little. But I have to also remember that it has weight. So when it's time for me to wash my hair, I have to wash my hair thoroughly and wash anything that may be creating weight on my locks out, because the heavier they are, the more they're going to pull from here, the more I may suffer breakage, right? So that's the secret, guys. To oil or not to oil, what do you think? I say oil. You're with Tanisha Ali of Butterfly Transformations, helping you to gain clarity, up-level your mindset, clear and heal energetic blockages, and manifest the glory of God that is with you. I have an online school with classes about tarot, about mindset. I do spiritual mentoring. I'm also a life coach. I've done motivational speaking gigs. I'm an author. Purchase my book if you are in need of healing or grounding at this time. If you're in need of a chakra balancing to clear your energy or to help address certain imbalances that you have that are creating physical symptoms, look me up in the description. Go to my website, look at the services, give me a buzz. Much love to you, much love to you, much love to you. Mwah.